She said that she would like to dance with me if I brought her some red roses. But in all my gardens, I don't have any red rose. Oh. Hello, my dear fellows. Welcome back with me, Wafa. How's your Eid celebration? I'd like to say Taqabbalallahu minna wa minkum. Eid Mubarak for all of my Muslim brothers and sisters. And guess what? Today, I'm coming up with a new story for you guys. But this time, it has a little bit of spookiness in it. So, do you want to know about it? Before I start, let me tell you about the introductory of the story. So, the story that I'm going to deliver is The Canterville Ghost. This story was written by an American author named Oscar Wilde, and this is one among of his stories that was first published. And it also appeared in 2 parts of the Court and the Society Review on 23rd February and 2nd March 1887. This story tells about an American family who moved into a castle that was haunted by an English nobleman. So guys, without any further ado, let's jump into the story. When Mr. Hiram B. Otis, the American minister, bought Canterville Chase, everyone told him he was doing a very foolish thing, as there was no doubt at all that Chase was haunted. Lord Canterville had felt that it is his duty to mention the fact about the haunted Chase. Mr. Otis, we haven't cared to live in the place for ourselves, said Lord Canterville. But since my grand aunt, the Lady Duchess of Bolton, was frightened into a fit, from which she never really recovered by 2 skeleton hands being on her shoulders, and that ghost was also has been seen by several members of my family. My lord, answered the minister, I'll take the furniture and the ghost at the valuation. I come from a modern country where we have everything that money can buy. And I reckon if there were such thing as ghosts in Europe, we've had it at home in a very short time in one of our public museums. A few weeks after this, the purchase was concluded, and at the close of the season, the minister and the family went down to Canterville Chase. Mrs. Otis, who as Miss Luvertia Artapan of West 53rd Street had been a celebrated New York debutante. Their eldest son, christened Washington by his parents, was a fair-haired, rather good-looking young man, and he had qualified himself American diplomacy by leading the German. Next, the second child, Miss Olivia E. Otis. She was also a wonderful Amazon, a flexible and lovely grubble. And last, after Virginia, came the twins who were usually called the Stars and Stripes, as they were always getting switched. Then, once the family arrived to their new home, they met the family housekeeper named Mrs. Omni. Mrs. Omni waited for them on the footstairs entrance. Then, they entered and sat in the sitting room. Suddenly, Mrs. Otis caught sight of a gloomy red stain on the floor just by the fireplace. She was unconscious about what it really signified. She said to Mrs. Omni, "Oh, I'm afraid something has been split over there." "Yes, madam," replied the old housekeeper. in a low voice. Blood has been split right over that spot. Oh my, how horrid! Cried Mrs. Otis. I don't at all care bloodstains in the sitting room. It must be clean at once. The old woman smiled and answered in the same mysterious low voice. It is the blood of Lady Eleanor de Canterville, who was murdered on that very spot by her own husband. But Mrs. Otis seems to not really care about that. Then she asked the housekeeper to just rub it off. With a frightening feeling, Mrs. Omni rubbed it, and it's now clean without any stain of it. But suddenly, a terrible flash of lightning lit up the somber room. A fearful peal of thunder made them all start to their feet, and Mrs. Omni fainted. Oh, my dear Hiram, cried Mrs. Otis. What can we do with a woman who faints? Charge it to her like brickage, answered the Prime Minister. She won't faint after that. And right, just as what Mr. Otis said, in a few moments, Mrs. Omni certainly came to. But since she woke up, she seems to be extremely upset, and she warned the family about the uncomfortable accident that just happened. The storm raged fiercely all that night, but nothing of particular note occurred. Unfortunately, in the next morning, however, they found the horrible stain of blood on the floor once again. Since then, the Otis family started to experience strange things that happened in that large castle. Sometime after, during the night, Mr. Otis was awakened by a curious noise in the corridor. It is just outside of his room. It sounded like the clank of metal, and it seemed to come nearer and nearer. And as the sound still continued with it, he also heard distinctly the sound of footsteps. Tap, 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 tap. Mr. Otis then put on his slippers and took a small oblong of his dress out of his dressing case and wore it. Then he opened the door. Right in front of him, in the pale moonlight, an old man of terrible aspect. His eyes were red as burning coal, and he had long grey hair. Mr. Otis then slammed the door with a great heart beating. Never, in a brilliant and uninterrupted career of 300 years, he had been so horribly insulted. He thought of the Lady Duchess, whom she also has startled into it. To be continued. You guys didn't expect it that I just stopped in the middle of the story, right? What do you think about it? This is the first and the second part of the Canterville Ghost. And don't worry, if you're curious about the next story of the Canterville Ghost, then I'll put the story link in the description box. Happy reading! Love you guys!